Want help to grow your business? Download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.
Hello, I'm Jesse Forrest.
And I'm Kate Toon.
And welcome to Write for Business. This is the show that teaches you how to write the right words to attract more sales, leads, and customers into your business. In this episode, we're going to be talking about how to write an authentic about page.
That's all coming up soon, but before we get started, Jesse, I hear that you wrote a book when you were just 16.
Oh, yes. It's true. I wrote a book, surprisingly, on the topic of how to talk to girls. Of course, I was the expert. I had never had a girlfriend, and I was actually at an all-boys boarding school.
Wow, so it was a very short book.
Very short indeed.
I'll just do that joke again. We did it earlier, but I'm going to do it again. I don't care. Let's get started.
Let's get started. So I'm excited about this episode because it's all about the about page.
It's all about you.
So 10 tips for writing an authentic about page. And we're going to talk about why that's important. Did you know, Kate, that the about page is actually one of the most clicked on pages of a lot of people's websites?
I did know that.
Yeah. So I don't know why that is. I think it might be because when people get a good sense of a company, they also want to know, what makes this company unique? What is it about this company that obviously they should do business with?
Yeah, I think you want to know who you're buying from before you want what they're buying.
Yeah, absolutely. So your about page is important, obviously, because it gives people the opportunity gives you the opportunity to build trust and rapport, to showcase your expertise, but also to tell your company story. So 3 things we're going to be covering in this episode. Another reason it's important is it should really be about what you can do for your customers and not just about you as a business. So it shouldn't just be about your story or your accomplishments or achievements or even your team. Wouldn't you agree? It needs to be also about your customers.
I think that's the biggest misconception with about page is that they're all about you. That was my joke at the beginning. But really, they're not about you. They're about what you can do for your customers. So I think whatever you're writing, whether you are talking about your team or reasons why your business is awesome, it all has to be in the context of how that's going to help your customer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one really easy tip to make sure it is, about your customers and not all about you, and some of it obviously is going to be about you, but is to include the word you just as often as you include the word we, our, or even us.
I agree. There's actually a tool online, I think it's called the wee tool or something like that, and you can put your copy through it and it will tell you how many times you said we, so that you can actually delete some of those.
We're not actually allowed to promote our own websites here, but Kate does own weeweewee.com.
I wish I did.
All right, so why have an about page? Or who should have an about page, I guess? Well, I really think any small business owner, in fact, any business, I think, that has a web presence, has a website, probably should have an about page, but also people with smaller kind of, stores, online stores or e-commerce stores, I think, should have an about page. If you sell stuff, you should probably have an about page.
Yeah, I think it's actually even more important for small business owners because obviously the bigger brands have some kind of brand recognition, maybe some trust and authority, and the smaller business, you might not have that. But I think people like to connect with people. And so if you know the person behind the business, even if it is a small site that you've never been before, you can connect with them and then feel more involved in their business and want to buy their stuff.
Yeah, 100% agree. So before we get started, I think, in the other episodes you talked about things that you really must do beforehand. These aren't, totally essential, but I think it's a good thing to note. You should be willing and open to share your story authentically. In the troubleshooting section of this episode, we're going to talk about, some of the things to avoid. But I think being open to tell your story is an important one, to be real. Also, I think professional photos of you, if you're a sole operator, if it's just you in the business, and if you have a team, maybe get some photos of your team.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the biggest problems that anybody watching this might be thinking is I don't really want to be out there. I don't want me on my about page. I want to hide behind my business, behind my brand. That's the biggest problem I have. So if I'm writing a about page for a client, they'll be like, do we really have to have our photos on there, our name on it? And it's like, yeah, you kind of do.
You kind of do. I know you've always shied away from it. Kate hates being in photos, as you can see. So she didn't know I was going to have this photo in the presentation. I slid it in there
The
beforehand.
power of Photoshop, that's all I'm going to say.
These are from different eras, aren't they?
Slightly. They are, yeah, some of them are very, very old. I really hate you right now. Can I just say that?
Payback is evident.
There's you, dressed as a woman again.
Dressed as a woman and about to sell
Full
you
lipstick.
a used car as well.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring these up, aside
I
from...
like the way you photoshopped in some chest hair there.
Yeah, well, not
Pretty
really.
impressive.
The reason why I show these, is, aside from so we can laugh at each other's photos, is to show you that, you know, we also have about us photos. A lot of companies have them. And they are important, as cheesy as some of them like mine can seem. They are important because it puts a face to the name and helps people connect with a real human being, a real face.
Even though you don't actually look like a real human being.
No, I look like
photo.
I look like an alien, don't I?
You too.
So, you know, it can be overwhelming to think, how am I going to tell my company's story? What am I going to write about? What do I include? What don't I include? What I've come up with here is kind of my 5 steps or 5-step formula for writing an about page. Now, is this, you know, set in stone that every business owner must follow these 5 steps? No, you could mix them around. You could not, you know, talk about your team if you don't have one, and so on and so on. But I think it's a good starting point. So that's what this episode really is going to be about, the meats and bones of it. So let's start with the headline. So the first one, again, is headline. So a lot of people, a lot of companies will have about XYZ company. It's kind of boring, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you could have that and, you know, it's one way to go about it, but why not include some benefits? Why not include something that's going to get me to stay on that page a little bit longer?
Yeah, it's almost like I think a good spot to kind of try and get some kind of positioning statement there. So we are the best something something, or, you know, affordable something something something.
Yeah.
You know, like try and get a benefit statement in there as well.
Absolutely, which you've jumped the gun there, Kate,
Oh, have I?
because that's what I'm going to show them. You know, a headline that mentions who you help and how you help them might be a good formula. In fact, I have a fill in the blanks template for those watching at home. But before we get to that, here's some examples of, you know, following this philosophy.
Yep.
So this is taken from an about page, and this is the headline. We don't just do accounting, we help you build your business. Again, they easily could have had XYZ accounting, you know, PTY, LTD,
Yeah.
but something that's going to stand out and also separate them from other businesses. This one, I believe, was from Infusionsoft, which is, you know, a full suite marketing website. We help small businesses succeed. A little bit vague about how they help them, but much better than, you know, about Infusionsoft.
Yeah.
A lot better. So again, I challenge people at home to think about how they might use that. And here's the actual template for doing that. So the red is where you would fill in your own information. And this is a template we might use for a headline. We help, then you say who we help or who you help. Achieve ideal outcome. So what is the ideal, you know, best case result that you deliver for clients with, and then that's how you do it. And that might be a service, your main service. What does this look like in reality? Here's one that, you know, we could potentially use as copywriters. We help, and then who we help if we do help these people, small business owners. Ultimate outcome, attract more customers online with, and then a service, which would be web copywriting. It's a very easy template. And I encourage anyone watching this, it's very easy to just kind of watch and not take any action. Why not pause the video now, check out that template and fill in the blanks yourself. So that's just an example of how we might do that. So the next section, number 2, so we've gone over headlines. Number 2 is who we are and what we do. So this is kind of like an intro to the company, a brief story about, you know, exactly those points. So this is the first section. It might be a couple of paragraphs and explains who we are and what we do. So an easy way to write this section is to come up with some questions or answers to these questions.
Yep.
These are the questions I would ask. What is your business name? So again, at home, if you're watching, maybe write down the answers to these as well. It's going to help you write in the next section. So what is your business name? Kate?
Shall I play the game?
Let's play the game. What is your business
my
name?
business name is The Clever Copywriting School.
Awesome. Who founded the business?
Founded by Kate Toon.
Great. I'm liking your tone of voice there. When was the business founded?
Business was founded in
Last week, right?
And then how do I help them?
And how do you help them?
Become successful copywriters.
Great.
That doesn't sound great, but I know what you're trying to say.
And that's fine as a first go.
Yes.
And at home, you might jot down some ideas and you might expand and elaborate them. As long as you just answer them, that's the best.
One
best
thing
to
I
do.
think I would add there as well, maybe you've got it coming out, but I think as well, I also like to say where I am as well. So, you know, I'm coaching copywriting in Australia or in Sydney, Australia. I think that helps
Great.
as well. Yeah.
That does help.
Yeah.
That's something we should definitely add in there as well. So just some questions to answer. Now, that becomes this. So now we have a template. So they're the things you need to prepare. This is where you insert them. So
Can I play again?
We can play again.
Okay.
So
Let me try.
actually, no, you won't play again on this one because I've got a real life example and you've already had a turn, Kate.
Okay,
so.
okay, whatever.
So, business name was founded by. Actually, let's just play again.
No, I don't want to now. That's it.
She won't play
over
along.
it.
All right, Copywriting Crew was founded by Jesse Forrest in 2004 with the aim of helping small business owners, attract more sales leads and customers. We provide copywriting services or online copywriting services, and I might even say, video scripts, landing pages, websites. But the actual example I was going to read is this one. Let's not go over it again. People can pause and read it out themselves. I already did that in the last slide. But as you can see, easily adaptable to any business. It'll get you writing not only your headline, but also that first couple of paragraphs too. Now, the next part is important. So one thing to remember is that people are browsing your About page wondering, why should I buy from you and not the competition? What are your thoughts on that, Kate?
Yeah, I think it's a very important question, and I often actually have that as a question. So pretty much what makes us different, why choose us, and that becomes the subheader, which then I can lead into kind of making my differentiation points.
Yeah, 100%. A why us, as you mentioned, helps you answer that question. And I think a good idea, and something I do with my clients, is I go through a questionnaire with them, or a copywriting brief, as you might call it. And during that, I say, why should your customers choose you and not the competition? What makes you different, unique, better? And I encourage them to list as many reasons as they can. We call them competitive advantages or points of difference. I think people at home could just
To continue enjoying this presentation, download BRiN, the world's first business advisor in your pocket. To find out more, visit BRiN.ai or search the App Store today.